So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This might be part 3 of the Kirby Roseanne's Mythomorphia, and I'm working with the dragon. So part 1 and 2, I've gone through all the flames and picked out what I thought I knew, and that's made things a bit clearer. And that took quite a while to decide on the colour for his body, but I've made a green. I think it's almost like a sap green, like a permanent green, and put a little bit of a very warm yellow to it, and it's kind of made this soft green. But this is gouache, and it's watered down. It's not the traditional way of using gouache, but it's given kind of a really nice effect, like almost having a perpetual marker, because it's very flat. Gouache is very flat, so it gives you kind of that Disney effect. It's used for illustration, and it dries flat, almost like a marker. So it's technically a watercolor, but it has an opacity. It's opaque. It's had a white paste put to it, so you can't see through it. So you can't work with watercolors this wet and have this effect. You'd be able to see through it, and it would be very wishy-washy. This isn't wishy-washy. This is like having a marker, but that's because it's gouache. But it's very, very watered down, not traditionally how you would use it, and I would say it's the consistency of milk. It's not like when I use oil paints and other things is like double cream. This one isn't. I think there's missed a line out there. This one is the consistency of milk, but because it's opaque, it reacts very much like having a wonderful marker. So I'm going to zoom in, and you can see. But again, this is not traditionally how you would do it. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples all having a natter in chat. And I'll zoom in, so we should be okay there if I move about. So I did the flames, and I'm building up the oranges and the reds. And now I'm going to do this. Just have to move things about a bit, because when you zoom in, now hopefully my desk should be better. I'm going to do that bit there next, because at the moment I'm preparing for the live stream, the live art paint along, so all my lights are elsewhere, but I'm hoping today to get the desk cleared as well, so I might be a bit more organised, because my art is changing, and so my desk is going to have to change. And I've missed a flame. There is a flame here there's a flame there that I've missed. So I tried to go across and pick out most of the flames, but as you can see, it's going on almost like and it's a bit paler than that. It's almost like a pale pea green, but it glides on. Try not to get too much on the brush, because I want to keep the colour. I don't want to have crinkly pages. So if you're just using the end of the brush, it's just like having a soft marker. Of course, you can get this cadmium red, which you couldn't do if you were using traditional markers. So I love the effect, and it's very quick, and it's very easy, and I've not made enough again. So if you've got a big space, like a big dragon belly, you do need to make a lot, and you would if you used it in the traditional way. You would make it in a pot, and you would make a lot of it. Sorry, Alfie's found his new toy. Because he was so good at the dog show, I saw 2 giant tennis balls, and I thought, oh bless, he's been so good, I've got to buy him one. And we didn't realise he squeaked, so he's a bit of a squeaky boy. But at least we know where he is. And sorry about that, we've got to get it in this corner. The only thing we don't like about colour books, double pages, is we have that silly page corner there. So I've got this little bit down here to do. That isn't my chair, that's the Elf Master. So if you've got any questions, pop them in caps. Thank you for joining me on this Monday morning in the UK. And it's a fairly bright day today. We've got rain, we've got all sorts today. And I'll be putting another video out about prepping for the live stream. So I just need to move the camera a bit so I can see the underbelly here. So I'm trying to follow him round where he would be. So if you've got any questions. So I used, no, I didn't use that green. I did the same, exactly the same thing as I did before. Picked up the wrong green. I've used that green. So I think this is kind of like a permanent green. And again, it breaks my heart, but I have to do that. And then I need the orangey tangerine colour. And that's far too strong. And I did forget how I made it, but I think that might be okay. Just have a look. I forgot how I made it. Sometimes it's not a good idea to do that. I don't think that's too far out. Oh yes, it is. It is a bit far out, that one. I think it wants to be watered down. So you would normally make quite a lot of gouache, almost to the consistency of double cream in a pot. So you squeeze it out the tube and it's quite thick, and then you make it into the consistency of double cream, definitely. You want it to not drop off. What you want when you lift your paint up, you want one drop off. That's how you traditionally use gouache, but of course I've extended this and I am using it differently because, oops, got hair on the end of that one. So it's not the exact colour. You never get the exact colour. So if you were doing a storyboard, you would be in trouble now, because you really need to make enough. You really need to make enough for what you need it for. So I have done that now, but I didn't earlier. So again, I'm just following the belly round. And it's as I say, it's as damp as a marker, so it feels like a felt pen, and it's going on very, very soft and very, very nice, very easy to work, but does not go through at all. But not if you couldn't work this wishy-washy with watercolour, because you'd go through your page. Even the Kerber Roseanne wouldn't stand too much of this. So I'm not quite sure what my dog's doing outside. Apologies. Oh, he's lost his ball underneath now. So just following it round. And you really don't want hardly any on there at all. So the rigger wouldn't work with this. You need a fat brush with a point, so you can get to these really tiny areas. Instead of changing brushes every 5 minutes, you just use one, and you use the tip if you want it to be a fine area, because it has a wonderful tip on it, or you push down and use the fatter area. So you'll have to forgive me a second. I just have to go rescue the monster. Sorry about that. It's squeaky, squeaky. So apologies, but it's better than barking. Oh, thank you. I'm only having a play. Just having a play. But what I said in part two was, oh dear, that was a mistake to give him that. Um, it's really therapeutic. You've got to like the colours you like. You've got to like the page that you want to colour, because you're going to be colouring it a long time. I want to make a good job of this particular page, and so I want to enjoy the process. Now, this is very easy on the hands as well. And I apologise for keep saying that, but it's important to a lot of people, and I am very worried that all these wonderful pencil things that people are doing, their hands are going to be so bad in 10, 15, 20 years time. And I know, because I am an artist and I have been drawing for many years, um, and it's it the way I have to do this because I can't get the other way. Just keep him in here because he's barking. So that's no, thank you, darling. So it's got to be comfortable to do, and it's got to be fairly quick. So I'll say apologies about my light because I've moved all my lights to the other side. So you see, I made a mess there. I should have watered that down a bit because it's slightly darker. Now I can actually get away with that, so that's fine. But because this is a pale, um, this is a pale. I'm going to mix it. Whoopsie. This is a very pale colour. This is the undercoat. This is the highlight. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. So as I've done with I wanted to practice with the colour. So I'm going to spend a long time on this page. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I like to do them fairly quick. But I'm going to paint. Again, the rule of three. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do the details, very much like the flames. So I've started with the yellow. I'm going to go in with the orange and then the red. So I'm going to go in with the orange and then the red. So by the time we've finished, you won't see much of this colour because it will be, it doesn't matter how many times you go over it as well, it's flat, and I love that. And again, I've missed a few flames. This is the time to sort those out. So I'm going to go in, and where it's the palest, I'm going to leave it alone, but then I'm going to put a mid-tone, and then I'm going to put a shadow. So again, using the rule of three, and I might even use my wonderful phthalo green. So that colour is looking quite nice for the dragon, very pale. So we've got a bit of tummy here with the scales, and I did spend quite a long time looking at scales as well. So I still haven't made enough of this colour, but so that's the other thing that I wanted to do. I think that turns into the underbelly, and the underbelly I'm going to do a different colour. You've got to make a lot of colour. So what I want to do is, instead of doing it on a piece of paper like this, I will be doing it in my colour book. And so I'll have a reference for this page, but just at the moment I haven't got all my sketchbooks and my watercolour sketchbooks in the same room. But as soon as I have, I'm going to pick one that I like. Oh, actually I did make enough. I'm going to pick one that I like, and then I'm going to have that when I do the colours. So that's going to be kind of a colour reference, so then I can put a little note to say, Kirby Roseanne, these are my dragon colours, and there'll be a rough reference of how I made the colour. It's not going to be so much detail, but it's just going to give me a rough idea, so if I remember that I did this page, I might think, oh, how did I make that colour, or what colours did I use? Because I may not have this book, but I probably will have the colour chart. So it's kind of a reference. So nearly finished all the way up to his tail. And again, I'm going to merge this tail into. So this is what happens with gouache. Look, when you merge it, you don't get a watercolour effect as such. So I'm just going to put that there. So that was a very subtle, but that's what I wanted. I wanted my pale colour. If I just pan out a bit. So anybody's got any questions? Hi Kenny, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else I've missed? It's a quick video to show how the colours are coming on. I'm just going to move that because it's wet now. I've got to be a little bit careful. And apologies about the light, as I say, my cameras or my lights are somewhere else. So that's just given me, and of course it's very dry and very flat. So even that's cadmium and alizarin crimson, there's absolutely nothing on the other side. And you wouldn't get that with a marker. So I really like that. I really like that. So I'm going to pick out, oh, I've missed a bit there, look. So again, I've still got some left on this palette here. You have to wash your brush out. That's one thing that you do have to do, and waste a little bit of colour. But I can live with that. Oh, I found the tummy and I've lost it now. There. So I'm pretty sure there's some more flames under there, but I've worked out that a lot of this is, there might be an odd, I think that's a flame, but I've picked out the ones I was definite, and the ones that I wasn't quite sure I've left, because I think there might be cloud at the top, and then there could be sea spray in the middle, and then we've got the sea curls underneath. So if I wasn't sure, I've left them, because it's always easier to colour them later than it is to rectify a mistake. See, I don't think that's a flame. I think that is a splash of water, and I think that's a cloud, because we have clouds up here, and we have sprays of water, and we have flames, and they all look the same because Kirby does that to us. So I was having a bit of a play. I think I've got all the green. It's always a good, no, I found some more. It's always a good idea to keep looking, because you're bound to have missed something. So I think probably under there would be something, but I'm going to leave that because that's definitely complicated. In between the fan, the same with that one. I think that's C, so I'm going to leave that. His claw now looks kind of a bit better. So I'm using like a cadmium red, and I'm using a bit of alizarin crimson for these two reds, and they're here. And I'm making my own. I'm adding the yellow to them to give an orange. So everything is kind of connected. If I'm not happy with the lanterns, I can go back over them, but I just thought they'd look quite nice. And again, now these Chinese blossom is now appearing more and more. So when you start building your colour up, but sorting the dragon out and the flames was really important, because you really needed to get that right. No. I have so much junk on my desk. Has anybody got any questions? So thanks for joining me this afternoon. Sorry, this afternoon. This morning. I don't know if we're after. I think we're just afternoon now. Yeah, we're just afternoon. It's 1:20 in the UK. So this will be part 3, I think, of my dragon. So by doing the yellow flames and having a bit of a sort out, picking things off that are easy. That's the cue for this, is picking things that are easy and getting them out of the way, and then they kind of make other things appear. And again, if I wasn't sure about it, I've left it. So I'm sure there's a few flames I've missed, and I haven't decided if these are flames or this is water spray. But when I decide, because I think the flames could be, um, when I decide what's what, I think again I think there's some more flames coming out of his claw. But once I've got the claw, um, and the fan, I think I'll find that that probably is a flame, and that's the sea spray. But we'll have to have a play. Kirby Razansi, he does that to you. He does that. Oh, thank you, Kenny. Thank you. I did like the red. It took a long time, and again, it depends. Might want to open your palette and go for it, or you might want to Google, have a look at dragons, have a look at bearded dragons. I got the colour from a bearded dragon. I quite like that to get a little bit of natural colour in there. But of course, the flames are going to kind of overtake everything as well. So sometimes it doesn't work to be pale and dark. Sometimes it does. And although it's only a colour book, this particular page, I wanted to take my time and kind of make a good job of it. So I've got all the shading to do. So in part one, I did a little bit of this, so you can see how it's done. But to watch all this to be done would be quite boring. Only takes about an hour though. Wasn't long, but it's long enough. You know, once you've seen the first section, you know how it's done. You don't really need to see the whole lot. So I probably will do that off camera. Um, but that's made, once I've got his belly in there, I can then look and see that, well, there's fish here, so this has got to be sea. But then we've got a flower. There's Chinese crackers, firework crackers, so they need to be coloured in. I think there's a bird somewhere. So once I've picked out all those things, I might actually do the flowers next, the blossom, because then behind that will kind of pop out as well, and here, so you get a good indication of what's going on, because when you first look at it, it's a bit scary. So that was the first bit of green. Again, I think that should be yellow because it's not. I don't know if it's a splash or. Now he could be turquoise. So again, now I've got to start thinking about the sea. I have sky, I have cloud, I have sea spray, and I have sea. Now in the gouache, I think, no, the Derwent art bars, I was playing with green coloured sea. Um, that was the intense, sorry, that was the hydrous, so that was all the blues and the pale blues and the dark blues. But this one I was playing with a different sea. I was playing with greens. I don't think the colour's going to show up, but they're all greens. That's a mint green. That's like a phthalo green. Uh, so I was playing with the different greens there, and I like that. So I think rather than go blue, I think we'll have the greens. But obviously I've got his tummy to do as well. So he's got his horns to do. Um, and we've got some mountains up here. And again, there's a big swirly cloud behind the mountains. So there's a few mountains there. So I tend to, so he's got 2 feet there, and then he's got one there, and one. Oh, so they are about in the same place. So again, I think the hands and the claws are going to be the same as the horns. Again, and we've got a sword, and then we have a Chinese building there, so that's going to be red and gold. There's a snow mountain in the middle of the sky, so that's a bit scary because that to me looks like it's a snow-capped mountain in mid-air kind of thing. So the sky is not going to be under here. It's going to be a mountain. Sometimes you have to do a bit of artistic license with them. Thank you, Claudia. I'm surely not. I'm surely not. Well, we'll see on Thursday with our live show. I've been trying to set the books up and trying to get a shadow, so that's been quite fun. Drawing the curtains and upsetting the neighbours. Yeah, to think somebody's died if you draw the curtains. So there's lots of ways to go about them, and you've got to find your own way. That's another thing. There's no point somebody looking at that green going, ugh, I hate that green, but I'm going to do it because Heather did it that colour. You need to think, well, I would have put that colour with that. I would have put a darker colour, or I would have done a pink and green dragon. You know, it's got to be your colours. It's got to be your style. It's got to be your medium, because it's going to take a long time. Apologies for the boy. He sounds like he's on a squeaky bike. Alfie, can you be a good boy? You're going to be a good boy. He looks and goes, I'm playing with my ball, mummy. I'm being a good boy, but you're being noisy. Oh, he wants to be on the camera, but you're not being on the camera today. Haven't time for an Alfie cam. But you've been a good boy, yes. Um, so I've got to think about the greens. I'm going to have a bit of a play, but I do have quite a lot there to play with. And again, I've googled. You see, I can't do orangey red. Could I do pink? I possibly could do pink. I was looking at the blossom colour, the Chinese blossom, and it's very white and pink. But I actually quite like it white. Might just leave it for a moment. I'll leave it, because if you're not sure, it's always better to leave something. And I've probably come to a moment where I really don't know where I'm going. So again, either you go to another page or you leave it alone, because there's no point making yourself decide something when you're not happy, because if you make a boo-boo now, you'll never go back to it, and you've ruined what is potentially a nice page. Oh, thank you, Kenny. It is nice with the pastels, and sometimes it doesn't work though. But again, it's sometimes they don't work. I don't like this page. Um, I like the gouache. I've got to finish. I don't do. I'm not very good at finishing pages. So as you can see in this book, there are no stickers at the bottom, but there are quite a few stickers at the top. So I put a sticker here when I started a page, and then I take the sticker off and put it on the side when I finished. So that shows there aren't many. I started to put a few um, stickers, notes of if I want to do it. So I thought that would be good for Derwent, as a comparison when you finish the watercolors um, and the ink tents, so you can see that how vibrant some and some are. This one, oh, this is the one I was going to do in Dr. Martin's, but I've decided to do it in gouache. No, I put a question mark. Now I've got art bars with the Midnight A60. I've fallen in love with Midnight A60 from my art bars, because I got the full set. And the art bars can scratch, and you can scratch a big area and then manipulate it. And I love that idea. And of course, I was going to do the Midnight, I was going to do the bats. So they're not quite black. I thought that would look quite good. So sometimes looking at other colours and looking at other pages, you get different ideas, and you're looking at other things, distracting yourself. This is Inktense pencil, but it's very pale. Love the fact you can get pale things from vivid colours. I was playing about with the clouds, and I didn't think I liked them, so again I haven't gone back to that page, which is very naughty. I have this one to finish. Might do that in gouache. I could do that in gouache actually. Again, there's another nice dragon here, but not many flames. So I started lots of different colours. I don't know why I've put a sticker on there if I haven't started it. This was the face-off between Caran d'Ache colour 2s and Derwent art bars. Absolutely no difference whatsoever, except for the art bars. You can use they've got bigger shapes on them, so they're slightly nicer to use. And they're professional watercolours. So what I'm trying to do is to distract myself, so that see, I had red dragons and greens and teals and yellows, and played with purples and pinks. And then when I go back to this page now, do I see anything different? And so sometimes that's quite good. Sometimes you might have to shut the book and go away for 6 months. Sometimes it's just 6 minutes, but that's another thing to do. And then you'll see that, oh, well, I quite like that area, and I quite like that area, and different things will come to you. So I've no idea how to do his body at the moment. I'm not sure about his tummy. I think they're going to be kind of a fawn colour, fawn grey colour. I think a greeny grey probably would be good. A green grey would be good, because then it would tie in with the green. But again, absolutely no idea what I'm going to do next. Apart from, I might do the flames. If I fill the flames in, that's better. That might be better. But sometimes you do come to a point where you're not quite sure. So on that note, I will be filling in the oranges and the deep alizarin crimson on the flames first, and then that's going to give me an idea of where to go next. So thank you for watching.